The beginning of the problem, it was the monsoon season, and the skies were filled with dark clouds. The rain poured heavily, leaving behind puddles and stagnant water in every corner of the neighborhood. Streets were flooded, and water gathered in old tires, pots, and other forgotten places. In a small house at the edge of the neighborhood lived a bright and curious boy named Ali. He loved playing outside, especially after the rain, when the world seemed fresh and vibrant. His friends often gathered near the old tire behind his house, where water had collected, and the boys would run around in the rain, splashing through the puddles. Ali's parents, though busy with their daily work, often warned him to be cautious about the mosquitoes that came with the monsoon. Be careful of the mosquitoes, Ali, his mother would say. They carry diseases, but like most children, Ali didn't pay much attention. He was too busy running and playing with his friends, unaware that those innocent puddles were breeding grounds for dangerous mosquitoes that could cause serious diseases. Ali's illness. One morning, Ali woke up feeling unusually tired. His head ached, his body felt heavy, and he could barely get out of bed. At first, his mother thought it was just a common cold or fatigue from playing in the rain. She gave him some medicine and told him to rest. However, over the next few days, his condition worsened. The fever persisted, and the pain in his joints became unbearable. Ali began to feel weak and nauseous, and his face turned pale. His mother became increasingly worried and decided to take him to the local clinic. The doctor conducted a thorough examination and recommended a blood test. After some time, the results came back and the diagnosis was clear. Ali had contracted dengue fever, a disease caused by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. It was a huge shock for his family. Dengue had been a problem in some areas of the country, but they had never expected it to strike so close to home. The doctor explained to Ali's parents how the disease spread. Dengue is caused by a virus carried by mosquitoes that breed in standing water. These mosquitoes are most active during early morning and evening hours. They thrive in stagnant water, like that in old tires, containers, and puddles left by the rain. He further explained that while most people recovered from dengue with proper treatment, it could be fatal if left untreated, especially if the platelet count dropped too low. Ali's father listened carefully, his face filled with concern. He had noticed the stagnant water in the tire behind their house, but like many others in the neighborhood, he had never considered it a threat. He realized now how dangerous it had been. Ali was admitted to the hospital immediately. His condition was serious, and his parents stayed by his side, anxiously waiting for any signs of improvement. The doctors monitored his blood counts and administered intravenous fluids to keep him hydrated. Ali's fever continued to rise, and the pain in his body made it difficult for him to even move. His parents were devastated to see him in so much pain. The hospital staff worked tirelessly, but Ali's recovery was slow. His father sat by his bed, reflecting on the series of events that had led them here. He remembered how, despite the warnings, they had allowed stagnant water to collect in the yard. His mind raced with guilt. If only they had been more careful, perhaps Ali wouldn't have had to suffer. The struggle to recover. Over the next few days, Ali's condition began to stabilize. The fever started to subside, and his appetite returned, although he was still weak. His doctors assured his parents that with proper care, Ali would recover, but it would take time. The emotional toll on his parents was immense, and they vowed to never let something like this happen again. Ali's father spent long hours researching ways to prevent dengue, and he discovered that simple measures like draining stagnant water, using mosquito nets, and applying insect repellent could greatly reduce the risk of contracting the disease. He also realized that dengue was not just a personal problem, but a community issue. If their neighbors continued to neglect their surroundings, the disease could spread further. Raising awareness in the community. When Ali's condition improved enough for him to leave the hospital, his father had a plan. He wanted to make sure that no other child in the neighborhood had to suffer the way Ali had. His first step was to speak to the neighbors. He gathered everyone in the small community center and shared Ali's story with them. "This disease is real and it is preventable," he said passionately. "We all have a role to play in keeping our surroundings clean. The water we ignore today could be the source of someone else's pain tomorrow." At first, some of the neighbors were skeptical. They didn't think the stagnant water in their backyards or the old tires lying around posed any real danger. But Ali's father didn't give up. He showed them the pictures of mosquitoes breeding in standing water and explained how the disease spreads. Slowly, the message began to sink in. People started to understand that they needed to take action. A community transforms. The next weekend, the entire neighborhood came together to clean up. People removed old tires, emptied containers that had collected water, and cleaned out gutters. They set up a system for properly draining rainwater and put up mosquito nets around their homes. They also arranged for regular spraying of insecticide to kill any mosquitoes that were still lurking in the area. Ali's father worked with the local health department to organize awareness campaigns, teaching people how to protect themselves and their families from dengue. It wasn't just about cleaning up anymore, it was about changing attitudes and habits. People became more conscious of the dangers of stagnant water and mosquitoes. Children were taught to use mosquito repellents, and adults made sure to protect their homes with screens and nets. It was a community effort, and for the first time in a long while, everyone felt united in their mission to prevent dengue from affecting their lives again. Ali's recovery and a new mission. As Ali continued to recover at home, he became an active part of the community's efforts. He joined his father in educating others, especially children, about the importance of cleanliness and protection from mosquitoes. He would often say, "Clean water is life, but stagnant water can bring disease. We have to be careful, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us." His words, once spoken from a place of fear and illness, now resonated with the entire neighborhood. Ali's story became a symbol of resilience and change. It wasn't just a story of illness, it was a story of how awareness and collective action could prevent a tragedy. Through his ordeal, the community learned the importance of looking out for one another and the power of small actions that could make a big difference. Had a lasting legacy. Thanks to their efforts, the neighborhood remained free of dengue for years to come. Ali's family continued to spread awareness, and the lessons they had learned were passed down to future generations. The area that once harbored the dangers of stagnant water and disease had transformed into a cleaner, safer place. As for Ali, he grew up to be a strong, healthy young man. He never forgot the lesson he had learned in his childhood, that cleanliness and awareness could save lives. He continued to advocate for public health and was always ready to share his story with anyone who would listen. Dengue had come into his life and tested his strength, but it had also taught him and his community valuable lessons that they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. The story of Ali was not just about surviving illness, it was about transforming a community and ensuring that such a disease would never take away the joy of childhood again.